What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Prop Queen Pod. I know that it's earlier than usual the last 2 days, but we're doing this at noon Eastern time. I'm at my parents' house. It is Father's Day weekend, so I'm super pumped to be here. I also need to tweet out that we are live at noon today, getting on great guests. I'm going to talk and type at the same time. Live at noon today, getting on great guests. Mid-Major Matt is coming on at 12:10 p.m. Eastern time, and we are going to talk about on the MLB card. And then we've got Matt Grissom coming on to talk some College World Series, which starts today. So I'm really excited for some day baseball. Tune in now. Great. I mean, obviously, it doesn't apply to all of you who are tuning in. Okay, I am present now. I'm trying to get this light going. It has been craziness in this house. I brought Marley to my parents' house for the first time, so I'm very disorganized today. I had Marley meet my parents' dogs who are 10 and 8, so it has been crazy. And then this morning, the dogs came running into my room. They were all excited that Marley is here. And she's sleeping so cute right now next to me on the bed. So hopefully we tired her out enough this morning that she will not talk during this show. I hope you all had a profitable day yesterday. I really don't I have to go through my card from yesterday and see what I said to you guys because again, yesterday my brother went to prom. It was so damn cute. I'm actually going to show you guys a picture of how cute he looked. You guys probably don't care, but I'm going to show you anyway. Him and his date were adorable. And my brother looks older than me, which is the crazy part. My brother and I definitely do not people. No joke. I was in Aruba. My brother is 18 years old, which is the legal age to go to the casino in Aruba. Me and my brother walk in. They card me. Not him. No carding my brother. Carded me, though. Seriously? Have you guys ever been carded and been extremely confused as to why you were carded? I need to... If someone knows how to stop the setting from your iPhone where it says it as an HEIC as opposed to mine doesn't let me do a PNG file. So when I try to add it to the stream, it's sorry, you can't add an HEIC, whatever the hell that is. So now I have to export it. Doesn't make it easy for, let's see, export as a PNG. And I'll show you guys my brother. Hopefully that worked. Desktop. There we go. Okay. And there. That was my brother at prom yesterday. 18 years old, doesn't get carded in Aruba at the casino. Girl on right, 30 years old, carded at casino every single time. People are watching me at the casino as if I'm, oh my God. I don't think I look 17. I might look 25, but I don't look 17. I love what Joe Quills from Twitch said. He said, the worst feeling is getting carded at a casino when you're near 40 and the kid carding you could have been my son. Right? I know people say, oh, it's a compliment. Tri-State Neil said, take that as a compliment. People say that. I don't find it to be a compliment because I've done so much in my life that when I get carded at at 30 years old, I feel like I should be respected more. When I get carded, I feel disrespected. I know when you're 50, it's nice to get that, maybe even 40. But at 30, I feel like I'm just starting to get respected in other facets of life, like work. When I show up to something and people look at me as if I'm a child, it makes me so mad, especially the casino, because I know how to gamble. I know how to play blackjack. I know the slots. I know craps. These are games that I enjoy playing, and they're sitting here judging me. Dude, if only you knew what I do for a living. My dad will sometimes say to them, she works in sports betting. Look her up. Especially when you're at the beach, in Aruba, and your hair's just in a ponytail, and you're just walking in with your parents. I guess it's not the greatest look. I never get carded when I'm with Kelly. They want her money, though. They know Kelly's going to come in and, spend her money. Yesterday, I don't have a recap written in the show right now, so we could go through things. And if you guys have any questions, make sure to put them in the comments because Mid-Major Matt's going to come on at 12:10, we're going to talk all things Major League Baseball card for today. We have a lot of strikeout props to get to and baseball props. And then Matt Grissom for College World Series. I'm pretty sure the first game's around 2 p.m. Eastern time today. I'm really pumped, even though I'm not going to be able to watch much of it. Has anybody ever seen Keith Urban in concert? Because that's where I'm going tonight. I'm going to see Keith Urban. My friend, speaking of connections, and also I'm trying to look at College World Series timing. Of course, ESPN doesn't have College World Series tab. They have Little League World Series tab. Where's College World Series tab? This is getting annoying. NCAA. I'm going to look on my phone. I have it tabbed on my phone. I'm going to Keith Urban tonight. You met Keith Urban on a commercial flight. That's really cool. Keith Urban, my friend, her dad's a tailor, and he makes the suits for he makes Keith Urban suits. So we're sitting VIP. I'm pumped, which is why this show is so early today, because I need to get to the concert. Okay, NCAA baseball, Arizona and Coastal Carolina, 2 p.m. Then Louisville and Oregon State are at 7 p.m. Then tomorrow we have Murray State and UCLA, LSU, Arkansas tomorrow night. That's going to be freaking awesome. I'm super pumped for LSU, Arkansas. I hope everyone remembers that they're coming on the show today. I've been really bad at checking in with people, and I don't know why it's saying that my Wi-Fi is not that great. Oh, good. Matt's chiming in. Okay, my Wi-Fi is better. What am I on? It has me on Google One. That's why. Oh, no, that's not good. Okay, if I lose you guys. So, guys, did that work? Okay, I think that worked. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize I was on the wrong Wi-Fi in here. My parents' house was the place that I actually was filming all of COVID, and it's where my career took off, was in this bedroom, actually, when everything, there's no major man. No, I'm back. Okay. The funny thing is, funny story. So over COVID, when everything had to be work from home, I built the TV studio right here behind me. There was a huge green screen that was behind me in here. I destroyed this room. My mom redid it all once I left. This was where everything started for me. And there were a few times over COVID where our electricity went out in the house, and my show just shut down in the middle of a Sirius XM show and MSG Network. We were airing everywhere at Sports Grid. Everything shut down in this blackout. So I'm the reason my parents got a generator. It was so nice of them. And now they have a generator. And guess what? Ever since then, they've never lost power. That's the laws of physics. When you decide to spend 10 grand on a generator, and then you never have a blackout again. Anyway, someone who knows what working from home is like, my good friend Mid-Major Matt joining the show, and the dogs are going crazy now. Oh no, it is I'm telling you, it's a disaster here. This is an absolute shit show.
That's what happens when you have dogs and new places and all sorts of stuff, and you're trying to put together a professional show. That stuff just kind of happens.
We're not going to be professional today. This is going to be a mess. Marley, come lay down. See, this is going to be a mess, because now my dog, I trapped her in here to sleep. The two other dogs, who are 10 and 8, are outside of the room. Now Marley's all pissed off that she's trapped in here. Go lay down. You want to come to the show? Come here. You want to come? Does everyone want to see Marley? Come here. No, she doesn't want to come. And I would show you the room, but it's an absolute mess. So let's talk some baseball props. Go lay down. Thank you. Let's talk baseball props. I know that you have a large card today, which you did not have yesterday, but we still made it work. I'm going to get your card. Where is it? Right here. Okay. Told you, not going to be a professional show today. We're lucky that I'm here. Clay Holmes, under 5.5 Ks. I did look at this, but I couldn't do the juice of -152.
Yeah, and you notice the juice is all over the place today. There's some high pluses and some low minuses and stuff like that. But I mean, it's just you look at the recent form for Clay Holmes, and he's gone under this a bunch. The Rays are somewhat familiar with him from when he was with the Yankees and everything. And I wonder at some point, like, do we start scaling back a little bit on Clay Holmes' pitches because he was a reliever last year, and you want him to last the whole season. Look, I'm breaking my one rule that I have because I lost on the Rays, or we lost on the Rays with the Bueller under last time out, and I usually don't like going back to back, but I just feel like Holmes is a guy that's going to try and get through innings more than trying to strike guys out here in this situation.
I just can't trust Clay Holmes because Clay Holmes has screwed me over so many times since the beginning of the season. We went into it saying there's no way that Clay Holmes is a strikeout pitcher, and all of a sudden he's become one, and I just have trust issues now.
7 of his last 8, though, he just really hasn't been a strikeout pitcher. It's one of those things where he came out hot, and then all of a sudden now he's kind of settled into a groove of getting more outs than strikeouts. Look, the Rays are a team that I have not been as good, and as part of our spreadsheet here, we put our record so people know, like, hey, this is a team that you know really well. And so my record hasn't been great with the Rays, but I figured I'd take a shot here in the 5.5 and hope he finishes with 5, and maybe we get the under here. Of course, the key is to have multiple outs on any of these things. And if the book that you have is juices too high, then you skip the bet. That's why we have this sort of situation.
Yeah, I skipped Clay Holmes, even though I did look at it and I understand the handicap. Again, between them and now the Kansas City Royals, I have massive trust issues. But you like Bryce Elder to go under 2.5 earned runs, another heavily juiced one at -150. Why?
It's because it's the Rockies outside of Coors Field. 22 of 27 right-handed starting pitchers have gone under this for the Rockies versus the Rockies outside of Coors. Bryce Elder is taking care of business in his weaker matchups so far this season. Plus, there's a little bit of a weather issue that could cut into the middle of the game, so we might get 4 or 5 innings from Bryce. And the Rockies sometimes struggle when they leave Coors Field. It's something we kind of look at when other teams go on these road trips and they leave Coors Field. Maybe their offense takes a step back after playing there. Well, the Rockies just finished a homestand up in Atlanta. I'll take a shot on this. Bryce Elder's a guy I don't think is a great pitcher, but at times when he gets softer matchups, he looks pretty good. By the way, the jersey that I'm wearing here, for the people who are commenting on it, it's a Ted Lasso jersey. I got it as part of my radio gig. They sent out a whole bunch of swag to people for the new season of Ted Lasso was last year. So one of the things was a Ted Lasso jersey.
Ooh, I couldn't get through it. I know that's so bad. I couldn't get through Ted Lasso.
I think it was overrated, but I also think everyone told me before I watched it was like the greatest comedy ever. And so I had such high expectations. It wasn't bad. It just was so overhyped that it never met the expectations I had going into it.
Joe Dollar says, Mr. Weather, you should tread lightly on Braves bet should be raining here soon.
I mean, listen, that's kind of the reason that, we go to our website on Roto Grinders, and he talked about how, rain could cut through the middle of the game. Now, it always scares me the beginning of the game because you never know if the pitcher's going to be rusty or the hitters are going to be rusty, but I'm going to take a chance that the rain interferes with the middle of the game, and maybe we get Elder, in 3 or 4 innings.
Over 4.5 Ks for +133 for Hauser. I didn't even really look at him for a strikeout prop today because I didn't see it posted when I was looking at 6 in the morning when Marley had me up and roaming my parents' backyard. But I guess against Texas, a team that has pretty drastic lefty-righty splits throughout the years, what'd you see here for an edge?
I mean, Hauser used to be a guy we used to fade. We used to be a guy that also used to get 3.5 strikeout numbers. And now I don't know what's going on this year, but his last 3 starts, he had 6 strikeouts apiece. Some of them were against solid teams too. Now I know that the Rangers are on an under stretch right now, 4 straight unders versus 4 straight right-handed starting pitchers. But it was Trevor Williams, Simeon Woods Richardson, David Festa, and Ober yesterday. They're not very good. Hauser's really good. Like, I don't know what he did. Maybe we find out he's on something and that's why he's been so good. I don't know. But like, if you look before then, like, this is a team that struck out a lot against right-handed starting pitchers. And as I put in my write-up, it's a price play. Like, if it was a minus number, I probably wouldn't have played this. But at +133 for a guy who has had 6 strikeouts and 3 straight starts, I figured it was worth a shot. So I put a little bit on that.
It's always a numbers game. Like there are a few strikeout props that I looked at today that I thought had good value for betting. Same thing goes for like Kodai Senga yesterday. I said I was good value at around plus 115 to take his under. Like there are just certain numbers that you get this edge on, and for the price it makes sense. But for someone like Hauser, would you say that you would still play it if the juice dropped?
No. Oh, no, no. If this was minus, I'd say no. If it was plus 105, maybe. So for the people who are not familiar, like I'm not a huge, since I play so many things on any given day, I'm not a huge unit person on anything in particular. So that's
You
why
like
this
the
is this.
action for more. You like the quantity.
Correct. The quantity more than the quality. And so, like, as I said, if this was a minus, I would certainly not take it. And look, if it flips to 3.5 and then it's heavily juiced to the over, like I would jump all over a minus 150, 3.5. I just don't know if it's going to flip to 3.5 or not.
Yeah, I don't get that vibe, but we'll see. Colton Gordon, he's an interesting name. I looked at him today too because Minnesota has pretty interesting lefty righty splits. They're barely striking out against righties. They are striking out a lot more against lefties, but Colton Gordon himself isn't really much of a K guy.
Yeah, but he has taken care of some of the situations. I mean, if you look at he's made 5 starts so far. He had 5 in Cleveland, a plus matchup against lefties. He had 6 against the Rays, a plus matchup, and he had 7 at Tampa Bay, the same plus matchup. So that should tell you something that the Rays saw him with it twice within a 13, 12-day span, and he had 7 and 6 strikeouts. And that's a team that knew what was coming. When you look at Minnesota and some of these guys recently who have done really well, Patrick Corbin yesterday had 6. Like Patrick Corbin's not really a strikeout guy. Noah Cameron for Kansas City had 8 against them. You look at some of the other ones previously. I mean, there's a lot of the aces. Martin Perez had 9 back in March. Like this is a team that just doesn't strike out a lot. And once again, it's a plus price. And so I wanted to take a shot here with the plus price. This is the one I put in last night when I texted you. I'm like, oh, this is the one I liked last night because I was worried that it was going to go down and I wasn't going to get as good of a price. But plus 115, once again, I'm going to take a shot at this price with a guy who strikes people out in plus matchups and a plus matchup today.
Oh, you mean like Tarek Skubal? Even though I have no clue what happened in that game, did he have a lot of strikeouts yesterday? I'm
He
so
did
bad.
not. He did not.
That was
He was
interesting.
he was he was I mean, he was still fantastic. He actually walked a guy, which was pretty crazy. He doesn't walk guys, but he just wasn't as sharp as we usually expect, which is odd because he still pitched amazing. He just wasn't as good as he had been in the past.
Yeah, this was my problem with yesterday. Like I was all in on yesterday, did my handicapping in the morning, and then I left for my parents' house and my dogs interacted. And that was the end of my day of just making sure everything was good. And then we got to Brendan's prom and that no dogs ruined my brother's outfit. So it was a very stressful day outside of sports for me. So I'm still catching up. Hi, Marley. You want to say hi? Um, Also yesterday, before we get to your last play, Kodai Senga back on the IL with another hamstring injury. I did hit the under 5.5 Ks yesterday, but we were talking about him and Cy Young and comeback player of the year. And you said, I'm worried about him staying healthy. And here we are again with the Mets and Kodai Senga.
Yeah, and you dodged a bullet there because he had 5. So who knows how much longer he might have lasted. He might have gotten through that inning, and maybe there was another strikeout. So that was one of the situations. No one's ever rooting for injuries, but an injury benefited you instead of hurting you.
The prom boy woke up. See, this house is chaos. Chaos here. I told you this show is not going to be professional today. It's going to be an absolute disaster. We've got my brother here. We've got 3 dogs in the house. My mom's trying to work. I'm trying to work. My sister's coming back home. This is craziness. Brendan, can you close my door? Thanks. Well, Marley has to come in. I'm sorry, everybody. I hope that you're all entertained by this absolute disaster in this house. I don't know how I did this during COVID, Matt. I had 2 dogs here, and they were always constantly going in and out of my room. And my brother during COVID was sitting here, like, just in homeschool. This is a mess.
It's because the information was good. That's why, because the information, people will put up with all sorts of unprofessionalism if you give out winners and good information.
That's why I have you on, because I have a few strikeout props, but and I have like maybe a couple NBA props I was able to dive into, but I'm still catching up. Okay. Chris Paddock over 17.5 outs for the old guy. Why are you going to Paddock?
So I'm mad, and this was on the show yesterday. I said I wasn't playing anything, but if I was going to play anything, my best bet was the over on Davis Martin outs, and he went over. He went 6 innings because everybody goes 6 innings against the Houston Astros from the right side. It's 20 of the last 26 right-handed starting pitchers have gone 6 innings or more against the Houston Astros. So it's almost to the point where if I get a decent enough juice and a decent enough right-hander against the Astros, I'm going to go over if it's 17 and a half. Like, it's just one of those things where it's a trend that until the Astros change their ways and until the Astros see less pitches or more pitches, excuse me, like, it's just one of those things where I'm going to keep playing the over here. And so Chris Paddock, another guy, he's done it recently as of late, gone over, I think it said 3 of 4 or 4 of 5. In terms of his starts. So it's a trend that I'm going to play, and I'm going to keep playing it until they start changing their ways.
How's the Alec Bohm trend?
Well, he didn't play yesterday. So tonight,
Right.
Kevin Gossman, good pitcher. Look, it's, as I said, this is one of those things where either the books catch up and we start getting 2.5s and the bet becomes a little harder to play, or I'm just going to keep playing under 3.5.
In case anyone who didn't hear yesterday's show is just tell us about the Alec Bohm trend.
So, I was discovering that you can do pitches per at bat on DraftKings, and I believe as well on FanDuel, and you do it live betting. And Alec Bohm is in the top 15 for least pitches seen per at bat. It's like 3.48 or something. And so DraftKings has been putting up 3.5s as his pitches per at bat the last couple of games since I've discovered it. And the last 3 games, it's 11-2 to the under. They went 5 for 5 the first game, 2-2 the second game, and then 4 for 4 in the third game. So 11-2 the last 3 games. Now, look, I can't guarantee it for the future. He might start looking at pitches and stuff like that, but like, it's been a trend the last 3 days that has been absolutely incredible. So make sure to try and go and bet live the Phillies game and take under 3.5 pitches for Alec Bohm.
Any other trends you like out there?
So I'm going to start watching some of the other ones. I believe it's Ernie Clement for Toronto, who is the least amount. He is averaging around, I think it was 3.08 pitches per at bat. And so I'm going to start watching him. And then Jeff Wilson, who is the really good rookie for the Athletics. He is number 2 for the least amount of pitches. Now, I don't know what their numbers are. They could get 2.5s. Like, the books obviously have the same amount of information we do. But I'm going to start looking and seeing if I want to add a second batter to this trend. But right now, it's Alec Bohm at 11 of his last 13 to the under.
That's crazy. I never even thought to look there. I'm so bad with the live betting market because it takes so much effort. Like, I feel like you really just have to, like, I was good at it in the NFL because you are just sitting there watching all the time. And I guess that's why you know the trend for the Phillies. I feel like it's just really tough to do when you're like with all the baseball games on at once.
Well, and it's just, if you're watching a Yankees game and you get kind of a sense as to who is,
You can't bet
seeing.
anything Yankees. They're always overpriced.
Well, no, not like this. I mean, if you think, if Aaron Judge starts going on a stretch where he's hitting the first or second pitch every single time, like, then you could start taking advantage of that. But like, you have to watch these guys enough to know what their kind of tendencies is.
That's fair. I'm trying to think if there is anything else. And I know that college football is something that you are also diving into soon, right? You said like around All-Star break?
Yeah, once Phil Steele comes out, July 4th, then we'll start doing our process. Basically, the process is we go through every team. I'll do my numbers first. I don't even look at the win totals that are out right now because I don't want to kind of get, poisoned by seeing what the numbers are out there. So I'll do all mine first, and then I will get away for a week and then do them all again and then compare them to the market and see where the value is. But yeah, looking forward to college football, certainly, for this coming season.
When you go through your college football card, just so that people can get that edge and they don't wait too long for a bad number and like miss the boat, are you just looking at your mid majors or do you look at some of the bigger teams?
I do every team in America. I used to write for Athlon, and I used to do every single team in America. And then I wrote someplace else for a season, and they didn't give me every team in America. And so, like, I just kind of do it because I feel like, while I'm not the strongest in the Power Four, well, the Power Three, I'm pretty strong in the ACC because I'm an ACC country. There's still value to be had in all those. Like, last year, I liked Indiana. I'm mad at myself I didn't go through with that, but like, I thought Indiana had some value last year. So I do look at everything. It's just the majority of my plays may come from the group of 5.
Is there anyone that you're like chomping at the bit to be like, ooh, I really like that number for whether like whatever it is, an over and under in the futures market, or a team you want to bet on for a future?
So I'm interested. I mean, I'm in here in the state of Virginia. I'm interested in UVA's number because I think the Cavaliers are going to be pretty good this year. I am also interested in JMU's number. I think JMU has a chance to be a solid team, but I think their number is very important because if it's going to be like a 7.5, that's almost on target. If it's an 8.5, I might look under. So like, this is kind of the thing with me. And look, I know that I might be missing value potentially, but like I'm more of a guy who'd rather have the most information and then just miss on a number instead of rushing to the window and taking something without getting all the information. There's still plenty of time for someone to get suspended. There's still time for adding transfers and things like
Injuries.
that, injuries in preseason and stuff like that. So I'd rather have the most information and miss out on something instead of just rushing in. Like, what if I had Tennessee's over and then their quarterback transfers out of the program? He goes to UCLA. Like, then I'm sitting with a bad number. And now, like, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of it. So I'd rather have the best and most information instead of just being first to the market.
Joe Dollar said, I look forward to seeing whether Matt has Kent State Owls over under 2.5 wins.
Oh, Kennesaw State. That's an interesting one. I like Kennesaw State a little bit, but we'll see. Certainly, diving in, there is some value. Like there are some teams that have like a 1.5 or a 2.5, and like maybe you can find a third win, and maybe you can find some value there. Sometimes the worst teams in the country have the best value.
Well, that makes sense. That's why whenever I went into MLB Network talking strikeout props, and I remember, I'll never forget, I go into MLB Network, Matty Viscursion and I were doing pregame spread at the time. He says, what's the Diamond K play of the day? I said, Bailey Falter, over 4.5 strikeouts. He goes, who the hell is Bailey Falter? I said, this is a lefty. He's good numbers, like for strikeout. This was, of course, like I think his like first or second season in the league. So these players, these teams that no one talks about, it's where the value is.
Who I know you don't want to give away all your royal locks or anything for the end of the show, but who's your one or two favorite K props today?
I texted you, I think, didn't I?
You did. Oh yes, you did. You did.
Okay,
The
so let's talk
Rangers
about.
Suarez. The Rangers Suarez one is really interesting. It is really interesting, and it's probably because I'm too close to the Phillies. But
I
like,
know that's why I always toy with. Do I ask Matt about his Phillies, or is he going to talk me off of this because he talks me off every Phillies bet?
it's I mean, the numbers tell us that it should go under. It should 100% go under. But this is where we also differ somewhat. Like if you look at the recent unders for the Blue Jays, like Liberatore had 4, that would have gone under the 4.5. Luzardo had 2, but he was tipping pitches, so obviously that's why he went and had 2. Sanchez had 4. JP Sears had 3. Like it makes 100% sense, and you are 100% correct here. And if I wasn't so close to the team, I'd probably take the under. But there's just something I've seen Ranger be nasty this season and just get like 5 or 6 strikeouts, which is why it kind of scared me a little bit.
I agree with that, but you look at all the teams he did face, a lot of them aren't really that low of K rate teams like the Toronto Blue Jays are against Southpaws. And I will ask you before I let you go, there are some right now on the strikeout prop spreadsheet, it looks like there are a lot of high numbers against lefties. I just feel like we haven't seen enough lefties yet. Is that why?
For who? For which one?
Just in general, I feel like I'm seeing a lot of lineups striking out on average 5 or more times against lefty starters.
Well, how about this? I mean, the Astros have seen only 7 left-handed starting pitchers so far this season. Like that's kind of insane. When you look at like Seattle's seen 20 so far. But like to see 7, like, so you can't really trust any sort of numbers there. I'm kind of going through real quick. Like Tampa Bay has seen 20 of them. That's a lot. The Orioles have seen 18 and stuff like that. But like when you see Houston has only seen 6 so far, like that's pretty incredible. And so, yeah, in that sort of situation, there's just not enough numbers. Pretty much everybody else I'm looking at here has seen at least double digits when it comes to lefties. So, I think we're starting to get enough data points for the most part when it comes to lefties. And I think we're just seeing that there's a lot of lineups who struggle against them.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot more than usual this year. And I will have my strikeout props later on in the show. I have to let you go, though, Matt, because the next Matt is coming on to talk College World Series. Mid-major Matt, thank you so much. As always, you're the best.
Sounds good.
Next guest. And, oh, there we go. Next guest today, because I just want to give him a warning. Well, the dog's being good. This guy is in the elements. I am so jealous of where our next guest is right now. Like, I wish it is like a dream of mine to go out to Omaha. The College World Series is beginning today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So, who better to bring back on the show than the guy that gave us a ton of winners last week? Matt Grissom is joining the show. What is going on?
Hey, Ariel. Thanks for having me back on.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I'm so jealous. It looks gorgeous out there in Omaha. How's it been?
Vibes are good. I'm standing here at Rocco's for the Jello Shot Challenge right
You should
across
have
from
brought
Charles Schwab.
one.
I'm trying to take it easy. I went a little hard last night, so
When you take a Jello shot,
drinking
what school
water.
does it go to?
Arkansas, absolutely. It's my biggest
Okay.
future, so I have to ride with that. But Murray State's actually, they're doing pretty well. They were in second to LSU. No shocker. The people from Baton Rouge like to drink and buy Jello shots, so I don't think it'll be quite as
You don't think
bad as
LSU will
they.
be upset unless they get knocked out early in the real ups?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. They're not going to break the record though of 68,888. I think that was the old Jello shot, and this new one it's pretty stout for a Jello
They made
shot.
it stronger?
Yeah,
Why would they do that? Then you consume less.
I think they probably thought 70,000 was enough.
Well, how much? Wait, first off, how much are these Jello shots?
$5,
That's an expensive Jello
and you
shot.
and you have to be here to purchase them now. They're not allowing companies to call in and order a bunch on behalf of a team. So when LSU did it, I mean, yes, there were corporations that bought some, but that they sold their school alone sold 68,888 Jello shots.
But where do they
That is a
go?
lot.
So, like, they just
to
buy them and it goes to their
whoever
number, but then they buy them for the rest, like for Rocco's?
to whoever will take them. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that there was a cheat code. Well, I think that that makes more sense for Rocco's that they make you come there.
Yeah,
If
so I
it's
don't think
better.
we'll see those types of numbers anymore.
Good.
Maybe, I don't
Okay.
know.
Well, we've got numbers to
Maybe
talk
underestimate
about
the amount of
because,
people that LSU people drink.
hey, listen, they drink starting at 7 a.m. and I don't blame them. It's a fun time and it's a huge accomplishment to get out there. We've got two games today, Matt. You've got Arizona facing Coastal, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Coastal's a heavy favorite at minus 265, total 9.5. Thoughts on the game for the Chanticleers?
So typically when it gets to Omaha, you look at solid pitching staffs because the stadium is going to play bigger, the wind's blowing in, the foul lines are wider. Kind of makes for a difficult place to play if you're used to, 400 at center. Now you're at 408, plus that 10-mile-per-hour wind of the Midwest blowing in on you. So really, it's gonna depend on the pitching staff. So when I'm looking at that, like Owen Kramkowski, who pitched for Arizona last week, that was the 18-2 game where North Carolina just blew the brakes off of them. Coastal has the better pitching staff, but they're actually not going to start Cam Flukie, who I thought was going to be their ace. He was the game one starter for the Auburn Super. Now they're going with Riley Eichhoff. He is a redshirt senior, so I guess Kevin Schnall is going with the more ready, mature person, even though he hasn't been here. So it's still a big stage. I think there's going to be a lot of nerves. Coastal probably ends up getting it done, but I think this is a dead under game. And I think Arizona correlated with that plus 1.5. I think they could play tight. I don't think Kramkowski has another back-to-back bad outing.
Then the 7 p.m. game is Louisville, Oregon State. Oregon State minus 200, total 9.5. Thoughts there?
I laid it with Oregon State, but I got minus 160. I feel like you're going to see a lot of Coastal Oregon State parlays, and I have this feeling that one of them is going to lose. So you could still lay it with Oregon State, in my opinion. Patrick Forbes and Dax Whitney are going up against each other. Forbes was pretty good all season long. Dax Whitney is a true freshman doing this in an independent conference. I was kind of down on Oregon State. Maybe didn't give them as much credit as I should have for beating up on these West Coast teams that ended up strengthening their RPI. But I don't know. This Oregon State team, the fact that they could come back and rally against Florida State, and then you lose the Jamie Arnold game against Florida State, which pretty much everybody else has. So you respond and you blow them out in game 3. I think the Beavers are playing with a lot of momentum, and that's what you want this time of year. I like the Beavers to get it done, but I think it could stay under just because, once again, you've got 2 really good arms going and the big park.
M. Rojas says here, Louisville, Oregon over 9.5 plus Oregon money line. Thoughts there?
It'd be tough on game 1 or day 1 to right now, but the wind will pick up and it always blows in Omaha.
Sorry, you keep cutting. You kept
that
cutting in
wind
and out.
comes in.
This is when having a producer works, because then the producer talks to him, and then I don't need to. Wait, you keep freezing.
What about now? What about now?
Slow. I think it's catching up.
No.
It was lagging. Now we're better.
Well,
okay, we're
as
good
more
now.
people as more people start filing in and connecting to the Wi-Fi and using cell, it's going to get difficult. But what I was saying is the stadium points towards a river. The wind blows off of it, and so it always keeps wind blowing into the stadium, which is going to cut down on any runs. So I would probably stay away from the over.
When it comes to playing the futures market, before we even get to 2 p.m. Eastern when the games start, is there a good approach to betting futures? Because it feels like this season in college baseball, it's really anyone's championship to win.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of parity, especially in bracket 1. You could look at any of those 4 teams and say, I could see them in the national championship series. The fact that you've got Arkansas and LSU as the 2 short shots, and they're both in the same bracket, that really tells you that the field could be wide open, because you've got Murray State, UCLA, with all respect to them. Still think Arkansas or LSU come out of that side, but then it's wide open in bracket 1. So I think you can get Arizona, Coastal, or Oregon State all plus 550 to 900. That's not a bad look for just to have somebody that's going to get into the championship.
Matt, I'm just looking at the board right now on FanDuel, and I only see the first 4 games up. So the 2 games today, then the 2 tomorrow. Murray State is UCLA, but then LSU Arkansas. Like LSU Arkansas seems to be the only bettable game if you want to back a favorite. Everyone else so far is laying minus 200, like they're laying $2 or more. And then you've got Arkansas LSU. Obviously, that's the huge game of the weekend. And right now I'm seeing Arkansas minus 120, LSU minus 106, 9.5 total. I mean, what should we be looking at? Is the favorite right here?
Yeah, that's what happens when you get some upsets and you deal with the parity. We kind of saw in the college football playoff where there seemed like, based on the odds, there were a couple teams that didn't belong. And, like I said, with respect to Murray State and UCLA, I do think that Arkansas LSU winner is the representative out of bracket 2. As far as that game goes, I could see it one of 2 ways. Either Jay Johnson's going to throw Cade Anderson, their ace. It's been their game 1 starter all season long, and it's going to replicate the type of game we saw a month and a half ago at Alex Box Stadium in Baton Rouge. Arkansas lost that game 5-4 in 10 innings. Now you're taking away the home field advantage, kind of. I mean, LSU fans travel here well, so do Arkansas fans. But I think Arkansas wins it if Cade Anderson goes, but then you've got the righty Anthony Einstein for LSU, who's like their ace number 2. And we struggled against him in their game 2. So that was the game we got run rolled in. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jay starts him. We're batting 500 OPS less against righties, top to bottom. So it would not surprise me if Jay goes that route. And if Einstein is announced, I would back LSU, but then I would turn around. And if you win that bet Arkansas to win it all out of the losers bracket, because their pitching staff is very deep enough to do it.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about something like regionals and you have to go through the losers bracket, it makes it obviously a lot more difficult to play a lot more games. But you're saying Arkansas is a team you're not worried about. Who else would you say gains some value if they do lose for the first game?
Probably look at Oregon State. Their pitching staff really, and Coastal, both their pitching staffs are really deep. You've got Owen Kleinschmidt for Oregon State. You've got Jacob Morrison, Cam Flukie still that you could throw for Coastal. Uh, my only issue with Coastal is they're the worst offense in the field. Um, it they struggle at times to produce
They play
runs,
in
and
such a
while they
huge stadium, though. I feel like they should at least have experience, no?
and like they went to Plainsman Park, which it was like 315 to left field on that wall, and they still, I think only Bodine hit a home run or two during that 2-game super, but they did just enough, and I feel like that's kind of how you play here in Omaha. But if 4 or 5 runs is what you've got to score, I don't know if facing another good if Coastal is going to be able to do that 4 games in a row.
Yeah, I love this coastal team though. I mean, just I love when you can play small and you have great pitching that goes deep. Also, a reason that Arkansas is great. When you get to, first of all, you obviously work in sports betting and you do the betting angle of College World Series. You're there right now. Do they like embrace? Like, are they like what? How do you beat around the bush here with like what you do? And you're like, obviously, I know the college world is so
Maroon.
weird. You there?
Sorry, my phone rang and it cut off. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. It's okay
Okay.
because I'm at my parents' house and it's a completely unprofessional show today. I don't mind. I have a dog sleeping next to me on the bed. We've got 2 other dogs downstairs. Completely unprofessional show today, so we're all good.
Well, I was trying to get up to the press box in time, but I have to walk all the way around the stadium. But to answer your question, I actually went to the media meeting yesterday, and Jay Artigua and a couple other people with the NCAA, they talked about NIL, they talked about transfer portal, they talked about increasing the field to add a couple more teams. But sports betting did not come up. They kind of tiptoed around it. I, it was kind of like the NFL when they partnered with DraftKings. It's here. Like, I don't know why we're pretending that it's not, and it's still taboo. It's legal in I think more states than not. I feel like we've just got to embrace it. And at the end of the day,
it's so good
if
for the sport. We're already paying these athletes.
right, yeah, at the end of the day, if you're not going to embrace something that is obviously taking over, I feel like you just get left behind.
And we've got these NIL guys and these donors sliding into the DMs of these players who are like literally still playing for their team and trying to coerce them into joining them. It's craziness.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely not a clean process at all. And
No,
they've got
and
to do
baseball,
something to clean
because
that
of
up.
how small it is, I feel like it's not looked at as harshly as basketball and football are.
Yeah, and the transfer portal dates are weird. You've got players, literally players on these teams that are transferring out while they're trying to play in the College World Series because they didn't get enough playing time. When you talk about a distraction, they need to push the transfer portal date back. They need to push the MLB draft back. It's a lot to be going through for
That
college
always,
baseball.
right? The MLB draft 2025, that always has conflicted with now it's going to be July 13th to 14th, but it always did conflict with Omaha.
It was usually, I think, the first weekend in July, somewhere around there. But it's just a lot to even process for your team. Like, okay, I'm losing 8 players to the transfer portal. Now I've got to go recruit these 5 guys from high school. 3 of them may go in the draft. We're going to need to go get people from the transfer portal. I mean, and then all while you're trying to prepare for the biggest stage in college baseball. in a College World Series. It's crazy that the timing of it is happening all right now.
Yeah, it's always been that way about college baseball. But hey, listen, we're here to make some money off of it. And Matt Grissom has done that. I know we've got people in the chat who were pumped up about these Arkansas futures that they're still riding. Go get your spot in the press box. I appreciate you for hopping on.
All right. Thanks, Ariel.
Probably going to have a shorter show again today because I don't have much. But here, look, I'm going to show you guys. She's so cute. She's so cute. There's my little Marley, right? That's her toy. Wait, I'm like, I can't point. That way. That way. There's Marley. Right there. So you guys could see her. She's sleeping with, there's a little like puppy toy that she sleeps with that has a heartbeat. So it's supposed to remind you of like sleeping next to your mother. But I'm so glad she's asleep. She has been running. For anyone that doesn't know, oh, it looks like a pillow, not a dog. Oh, she's snuggled. So I am at my parents' house and I live in Manhattan normally. So she only has my apartment and then we go to the dog park where she can run around, but it's still kind of small. My parents have a huge backyard. So she has been running for like hours outside. Like this dog won't sit down. The only time she will sit and lay down is in this bed. So very happy that she's laying down right now. I don't have much in the NBA right now. I will give you a few leans. First of all, we are not fading SGA again. We are lucky when we hit that. We don't do it again. So tonight, with the Pacers and the Thunder, I'm not fading SGA in a must-win situation. However, I'm not betting it over either because SGA on the road is averaging 3 less points a game. SGA's points prop for tonight is on FanDuel, and I know Jessica will tell me she has a better number, 33.5, which is to the over. Remember, this went up to 34.5 in the last game. But again, I am not fading SGA for a second straight game, especially following a loss. What I will do is probably bet SGA again at home when they go back to OKC. Tyrese Halliburton. If you look at, I didn't send out the PropQueen.com newsletter yet. I'm going to send it out once Major League Baseball sends me all the hitter information. They haven't sent it to me yet. But once I have the batter information, I will send out the newsletter where Jessica Brand does have a play on Tyrese Halliburton. She likes Hallie to have 3 or more made 3-pointers tonight. So her analysis is in there. You can check that out. For me, Halliburton, I'm glad that I bet is over in game 3. I'm not so sure I want to go back to it again in game 4. So I'm going to look to Pascal Siakam overs. I like Siakam over his 19.5 points because it's off. At home in the playoffs, he's averaging 21.5 points a game. And Siakam's averaging 19.5 on the road. So I like Siakam, and he's done well in game 4s when they're back at home. Jessica says over 33.5 is the best on SGA. TJ McConnell over 11.5 points plus assists. Jessica, if you like anything about TJ McConnell, let me know. I've been really bad with some of these like smaller, like tier 4 names. But that's what M. Rojas likes is McConnell. What else did I have in that game? I'm a mess over here. I'm just trying to remember what I did. And then I'll talk to you guys about my strikeout props. But the last game in the NBA, I had Caruso under. We're not going to bet that again. What other trends were there? And then Miles Turner. You know Miles Turner is going to hit tonight. You know he's going over tonight because I'm not going to bet it. Joe Dollars' McConnell has been a cash cow. There you go. Tyrese under. I don't know about, here's what I want to do. And I spoke to Steve Merrill about this on yesterday's show. I want Tyrese Halliburton to have an amazing game tonight. I want him to put up like 25 points. Then when he goes back to OKC and his number's too high, we're going to bet the under. That's what I want to do. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of the over for this game, Jessica says. Why? Why do you like the over? I mean, again, 2 fast-paced teams, familiarity with the court again. I could see that. I'm trying to see what else I'd be looking at. So Chet's been awesome, but fishy that his props 15.5 would juice to the under. So maybe you look to fade Chet. Again, I think everyone's been high on him. And then Jalen Williams, remember, I think it was Coach Young that came on and said Jalen Williams live bets were things to bet the overs on. So keep an eye out for Jalen Williams and his live bets in the second quarter because of the rotations and substitutions. Jessica said familiarity had some bad luck relative to shot opportunities last game. More at stake, more defense is what Sean Michael thinks. And then Jessica said, think like, in baseball. I get it. So NBA, I would say my favorite play is Pascal Siakam. I feel like no one's really talking about him, and he's a good underrated play. The assists, SGA is at 6.5. Tyrese is at 8.5 again. It's so weird that Tyrese Halliburton's at 8.5. He's had 10-9. He's had 10-3 and 9 in this series, but he zigzags every freaking time. This guy zigzags. And then SGA, he's been screwing me over on his assist props too. Every time Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's assist props are up, and I'm always like, oh, this looks a little fishy. So he had 8. Oh, no, that was rebounds. 4 in the last game, then 8 and 3. Maybe he's zigzagging and he dishes the ball out more in game 4 with a low assist prop for SGA. Again, I have no interest in betting the points because he's going to be way too overpriced. But the assist, maybe. Let's see. More people are sending me College World Series stuff. I'm obsessed, but I'm not good at betting it, which is why we're going to rely on Matt Grissom. Terry's over 1.5 steals, hit 7 of the last 8 games. Hey, the more you know. That's why we love the chat. The chat's telling us the trends that we need to know while I am sitting here dog sitting. I don't have a graphic for this, but I'm going to walk you through my strikeout props for today. Major League Baseball. And then I'm going to have more in the newsletter. I'll probably see if I have some fishy lines to give out for today. I've just been so behind. Marley had me up at 6 in the morning, and then I tried to just get her to wind down. She would not wind down in the house. So, oh my God, guys, I have to show you this dog. She's sleeping on my pillow. Do you see the dog on my pillow? Oh, now she's awake. You want to say hi, Marley? You say hi to everybody? You say hi. Say everyone. Now you can see Marley. There's Marley girl. Back to sleep on my pillow. I'm going to have to change the pillow now because, yeah, she lives the life, Jessica says. You're right. She lives the life. She's at her vacation home, her summer home right now. She's like, leave me alone and shut up. She's like, you talk way too much. Okay, strikeout props for today. I've got 3 that I like. Ranger Suarez under 4.5 strikeouts. Was kind of talking about this with mid-major Matt. They're facing the Blue Jays. And although Suarez has done great this season, he has had 5 or more strikeouts in 7 of 8 starts. Doesn't it make it stand out more that his prop's still 4.5? Lefty starters, 11 of the 15 to face Toronto went under their K prop, averaging 3.7 strikeouts a start. 6 straight left-handers have gone under 4.5 strikeouts against Toronto. Yankees lefty Ryan Yarbrough, over 4.5 Ks is at plus 102. I like anything in plus money for him. I know he had no strikeouts against the Red Sox the last time he faced them. However, he did go over later on against Texas, who also has a high K rate against Southpaws. The Red Sox, when they face a lefty, 9 overs, 6 unders, averaging 5.5 Ks a start. It's, again, one of those rematches. Yarbrough should have gone over the first time. He didn't. So the second time around, he should against a team like Boston that likes to strike out a lot against lefties. Arizona's righty, Ryan Nelson, under 3.5 Ks. He's only made 4 starts this year, and he went under 3.5 strikeouts in 3 of those 4 starts. Now he gets the Padres, who have one of the lower K rates in baseball, dating back to even the beginning of last year. 6 of the last 10 righties to face San Diego went under 3.5 Ks, including 3 straight. So I would take a look there at the under for Ryan Nelson strikeouts. I also have a little bit of propaganda. The BetMGM guys did send along. Remember we did it the other day. I know I did some propaganda for the most bet on props for game 4 of the NBA Finals, but they sent an updated one. So here's a propaganda. In case you like baiting the public, here is what the public is up to. In the NBA tonight, they like Lou Dort under his points, rebounds, and assists. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to score the first field goal. Miles Turner, that wasn't my typo. That was their email. Just saying. Miles Turner, under 5.5 rebounds. Guess what? I'm telling you guys, Turner's going over today. I almost cursed. This guy's going over. And I can't have it in me to bet it, but he's going to go over today. Just like the Padres are going to win the freaking World Series. Aaron Naismith over his assists and Tyrese Halliburton under 5.5 rebounds. That's interesting on the Hallie rebounds. I'm going to take a look at that real quick. Did I just delete where I had Tyrese? Come on. I just got rid of it. Dummy me. Tyrese Halliburton. Let's check his rebounding numbers. And Jessica, you can tell me too what you think about the under on rebounds for Halliburton. He had 9 the last game, 3 before, and 10 before that. But in home games, he had 6 against the Knicks, 12, 4. Before that, against the Cavs, not really great. 5, 7. Okay, it's too much juice anyway. But those are the most bet on props according to BetMGM for tonight in the NBA. I've been waiting for some baseball stuff to come into my email, but like nobody's sending me any baseball stuff today. UFC they sent over. I'll tell you the most bet on props in UFC as well while we're at it. You guys know I don't know this stuff, but I will tell you the most bet on props for UFC tonight. And then tomorrow we will have not tonight, tomorrow. And then you'll know tomorrow on Last Call. I think Yanni the Greek will be on tomorrow. So we'll talk about that. But these are the most bet on props for UFC this weekend. Joaquin Buckley by KO, TKO, or disqualification. Kamaru Usman by decision, technical decision. Paul Craig by submission. Jose Ochoa by submission. And Joaquin Buckley by KO, TKO, oh my God, why can't I say disqualification in round 3 at 10-1? So those are your most bet on props for UFC this weekend. Again, in case you would like to fade the public, I'm going to try to remember this so that I could bring it on for Last Call. Shawn Michaels said, I sent Ariel my dog on X. She didn't reply. I didn't see it. Do you know how many people DM me on X that are such, like, I don't pay attention. Shawn Michael, like, what is your, what's your Twitter name? Is it Shawn Michael? Like maybe it's in like a folder that I can't see. I don't know. You'll have to message me again and I'll have to take a look because it goes into some weird ass folders sometimes. I guess, we have 1 minute left already. Let's get to my Royal Locks. Again, I don't have a graphic today, so I'm just going to tell you. I like Ranger Suarez under 4.5 Ks. I find this number to be very fishy on Suarez because he's gone over this number in all but one game this year, and yet they still book him at 4.5. Getting a Toronto team that's 11 of the 15 lefties to face them went under their K-prop, averaging 3.7 strikeouts a game. Suarez under for me. And then Arizona's righty, Ryan Nelson, under 3.5 Ks. Nelson's made 4 starts this season going under 3.5 Ks, and 3 of those 4 starts. And now the Padres, who really don't strike out a lot, 3 straight righties have gone under their strikeout prop of 3.5 against the San Diego Padres. So those would be the 2 I like the most, and I'm sure that means Ryan Yarbrough is going to hit. We all know that Miles Turner is now going to go over his rebound prop because I won't bet it. Pascal Siakam over his points as well. Those are some of the things that I like. Do you like home props better than road props? No. But for betting overs, typically, yes. But there are players, you have to look at home road splits to know when to bet these players. So, for example, SGA does average more points a game at home. Duh. But tonight, I will not be feeding him like I did in game 3 because he has familiarity with the court. He's probably going off tonight. So I would lay off that. Tyrese Halliburton, he has better numbers at home. So obviously that means that's why I liked him in game 3. I'm not going to bet him back-to-back games. My hope is that Tyrese Halliburton has a great game tonight so that when they go back to OKC, I could go bet Tyrese Halliburton unders. So I try to look, like a lot of the times, I wouldn't necessarily bet an under on a player at home unless I felt like it was a good spot, but I will fade players then on the road, if that makes sense. And I'll back like SGA at home. Like I would never fade SGA at home. But there are other players that tend to do better on the road or worse. Like, for example, we bet Alex Caruso in game 3. He had 2 really good games at home, but he's been an inconsistent player, and it was time to fade him on the road. So, yeah, it's not as big for stars, like Jessica said. Role players matter more at home, more impacted that way, thus worse on the road, true across the NBA. Hence, Alex Caruso. So, I look at home road splits because I do think that they are important. But I wouldn't fade a star like SGA at home. Other players maybe, but Tyrese Halliburton, like, not going to fade him at home, but I will fade him when he goes to OKC. So, yeah, road for unders, home for overs for overvalued players on the road. That's the way to say it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know it's early, 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time, but Monday I will be back 5 p.m. Eastern time right here, actually, because I do have a friend's, it's a bris. I don't know if you guys know what a bris is for Jewish boys, but I have to do that on Monday. So I'm here until Monday, and then Tuesday back in studio at the home studio. But we will be 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow I'll be on Last Call, 11 to 11:45 a.m. Eastern on Wager Talk, so you can check that out. We've got a lot of great guests as always going through the slate. The PropQueen.com newsletter, go subscribe. I'll be writing for that tomorrow as well. I still have to send out today's newsletter. Sunday I'm taking off because I deserve a day off, and it's Father's Day, and I have so much with my family with Father's Day, my sister's birthday, my brother's graduation, my aunt and uncle's anniversary, my uncle's birthday. We have a huge June, so I'll be busy on Sunday. But tomorrow, live in action, 11 to 11:45 on my streaming services and Last Call on Wager Talk. Good luck to all your bets today. Happy College World Series Day. I will speak to you guys on Wager Talk Last Call tomorrow.